Some of them you may be doing, and some of you may not have even heard of. So the first thing that we have been using that I have been doing to track my ovulation is OPKs, and these ones here are the cheap ones that you can get on Amazon or eBay. You can buy them in the shop, but they're far more expensive. I think for £5 I got like about 20 or 30 packs, and it comes with like a couple of free pregnancy tests. It's a really affordable way of tracking your period. Of course you can nip to the chemist, but they're about £20 for just like five of OPKs. It's ridiculous. So yeah, they recommend you start from, I think, is it day 8 of your cycle. They say that you should start tracking your ovulation, but I usually try and do it a tiny bit before that, maybe like cycle day 5, because you just never know whether, especially if you're just starting to use OPKs, if you're ovulating earlier or ovulating later. So as you can see here, I will show you. Okay, I had to turn the light off just so you can see. So these are my 3 OPKs on the build up to ovulation. Now as you can see, the first one, the line, there isn't really a line. Hang on, maybe if I switch hands. So this line down here, the first line, is what's called the control line. That just tells you if an ovulation test is working. So this first one here, you can see that's got hardly, there is a line there, but there's not much of a line at all. The second one has a very faint line. Hang on. A very faint line there. And then this one is a positive OPK. And you can see that this line here, the second line, is darker than the control line. And that is what determines a positive. Basically, you need the, it's not always darker, but most of the time, the test line is darker than the control line, and usually you will ovulate from anywhere from 12 to 24 hours after that positive OPK, so you can then start charting. So that's the main way that I've been following, that I've been using to track my ovulation. Now the reason, no matter what time of the month that you do this test, you will always find that there's always 2 lines, and that's because your body naturally produces the luteinizing hormone, which is the hormone this is looking for, pretty much the whole of your cycle. So you always have some of that hormone in there. Some people have it stronger, some people don't. Some people might not see a line at all, but majority of people will see a line right the way through, a very faint line, but they will see something. Whereas, of course, if that was a pregnancy test, no matter how faint the line, that usually means that you're pregnant. It's very hard to get a false positive in a pregnancy test. Though it has happened. I have had one. I had an evaporation line, and it's possible. Usually with the blue test strips, so that was weird. But anyway, so that's one way. Another way that you can track your ovulation, again, this is TMI, and these, I think TTC videos are always going to be TMI. It's just the way it is. But it's basically tracking your cervical mucus. So if you go on the internet and Google and things, you'll be able to see some kind of pictures and a description of what your cervical mucus is like throughout your cycle. And at the beginning it's a lot whiter, it's a lot thicker, because it's stopping, it's basically like creating a plug, like a mucus plug, to prevent any bacteria, to prevent any sperm, to prevent anything from getting into your uterus. Then as that sheds, it becomes like an egg white consistency. And if you imagine, this lady showed, I saw a video of this lady, she cracked an egg open, and when you're just holding the egg and it's the kind of, this is so gross, but it's drooping, it's the healthy kind of egg white consistency that the sperm used to kind of swim up there, and it's very nutrient rich, it's very rich in sugars, it's kind of what they need to kind of be able to survive and to swim. So that, usually when you get that, it means that you're again going to ovulate a few days later. About 80% of women will ovulate a few days after they've seen the egg white cervical mucus, but some ovulate before. Again, that's why I think these test strips are good. Another way you can track your ovulation is by basal body temperature. Now, I don't have a basal body thermometer because I can't be bothered to buy one, and I don't want to go too into kind of crazy tracking. I think it can, just make you go a little bit crazy. It certainly would me, and I just want to keep it quite simple, but it is a really good way. In fact, I think they say it's one of the most guaranteed ways. When you see a spike in your temperature, that's usually when you are ovulating, and it's a pretty accurate way of finding out if you are. And you can buy ferning tests online. Again, it's not something I'm familiar with. Ferning is basically taking your saliva and you do something with it and it will tell you if you are ovulating or not. But again, they're quite kind of invasive methods. I think that the egg white cervical mucus and the OPKs are far cheaper, less stressful way of tracking your ovulation. And personally, I found that to be the best way for us. Again, I would really recommend you get an app. So Fertility Friends, a popular one. This is my period calendar, and on it, it tells you, it gives you kind of either an estimation as to when you're going to be ovulating depending on your cycle. This didn't work for me, again, because as I've said before, I had a short luteal phase, so it said I'd ovulate early in the month when I actually ovulated later, so that didn't work for us. However, it worked the first time when I tried Sebastian. I did use an app, but it's worth, you can manually put it in as well, so it's definitely worth getting one of these, and you can track your exact cycle when you're doing the deed, what's happening. Don't go too crazy on Google. Like, I go nuts on Google, especially my 2-week wait, and one thing I've learned by going on Google and vlogs is that everyone is so different, like their symptoms are so different, and sometimes it can be in your head, like you're thinking that you've got this when you don't, and you know, at least that's from my experience. So yeah, that's pretty much all I wanted to talk to you about tracking ovulation. It's an important step, I think, if you are trying to conceive. So if you are thinking about it, then it's definitely worth thinking about, you know, or again, just go out and just really enjoy time with your husband and your partner, because that could probably be just as effective too. But one thing I found that this was really good for ruling out any issues. Like for me, I didn't know I had a short luteal phase until I did these. So yeah, that's all. I'm rambling. I have to pick Sebastian up from nursery now, so I'll see you guys soon. Bye.